What would you do if the woman you loved, the one you built a life with, left a piece of another man's existence in the pocket of her winter coat? I never thought I would find myself staring at a crumpled napkin, scrawled with a name and a phone number, tucked deep inside the lining of Sarah's expensive cashmere coat. It was a Tuesday night late, the kind of hour when the city of Chicago outside our West Loop apartment was finally quiet, save for the distant wail of a siren. I was just trying to be helpful, getting her coat from the closet for a dry cleaning run, when my fingers brushed against something foreign. The soft fabric gave way to a stiff, folded square. My heart hammered against my ribs, a frantic drumbeat against the silence. The name Mark was written in a bold, unfamiliar hand, followed by a string of digits. It wasn't a client, not a colleague. It was a secret, a betrayal. And in that moment, my entire world tilted on its axis, threatening to shatter into a million irreparable pieces. If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel. Tell us where you're from and what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to know how far our story flows. The humiliation hit me first, a wave of nausea that made me clutch the coat tighter. Sarah, my Sarah, the woman I'd sworn vows to in a sun-drenched vineyard just 5 years ago, had another man's name in her pocket. The image of her laughing, her hand in mine, at our wedding reception in a downtown Miami hotel, flashed before my eyes, now tainted, grotesque. I felt like a fool, a cuckold, the last to know. Every shared glance, every tender touch, every whispered, "I love you now," felt like a performance, a cruel mockery. I walked to the window, looking out at the glittering lights of the Chicago skyline, feeling utterly alone in a city of millions. The cold glass pressed against my forehead, a small comfort against the burning shame inside. Over the next few weeks, a subtle shift in Sarah's behavior became glaringly obvious. She started working late more often, her phone always face down, always on silent. She'd disappear for girls' nights that stretched into the early hours, returning with a faint, unfamiliar scent clinging to her clothes. Her once eager kisses became perfunctory, her eyes distant. I'd try to engage her, to talk about our day, our future. She'd offer clipped responses, her attention always elsewhere. One evening I saw her texting, a small, secretive smile playing on her lips. When I asked who it was, she snapped, "Just a work thing, David. You're being paranoid." The accusation stung, but it also fueled a cold resolve within me. The slow discovery was agonizing, 1,000 tiny cuts. I started noticing the details. A receipt for a high-end steakhouse in Dallas, not far from where she claimed to be on a business trip. But the date was a Saturday. A new expensive watch she wore, claiming it was a gift from her sister. But her sister lived in Los Angeles, and had never been one for such extravagant gestures. Then came the phone calls, hushed conversations she'd take in the other room, her voice low and urgent. One night, I saw a text notification flash across her screen while she was in the shower. "Aunt, wait for our weekend in New York, my love." Mark, the name, the city, the endearment, it all clicked into place with a sickening thud. My heart didn't just break, it splintered into jagged shards. Sarah, once my vibrant, loving partner, transformed into a cold, manipulative stranger. She became defensive, lashing out at my slightest inquiry, twisting my concerns into accusations of jealousy and control. "You're suffocating me, David," she'd scream, her eyes blazing. "I need space." She'd use my pain against me, making me feel guilty for even suspecting her. She'd gaslight me, denying everything, making me question my own sanity. She was a master of deception, weaving a web of lies so intricate, so convincing, that for a time I almost believed her. She walked around with an air of untouchable arrogance, as if her betrayal was a right, and my suffering, a mere inconvenience. And Mark, the man whose name was on that napkin, seemed to share her smug confidence. I saw them once, purely by chance, at a coffee shop in downtown Los Angeles, near the hotel where Sarah was supposedly attending a conference. They were laughing, his arm casually around her waist, his eyes full of a possessive glee. He looked like he owned the world, and my wife was just another one of his acquisitions. They looked so comfortable, so brazen, so utterly convinced that their secret was safe, that they were above reproach. They were the villains in my story, and they felt utterly untouchable. I hit rock bottom in a cheap motel room off a highway in rural Texas, far from the polished facades of our life in Chicago. I'd driven aimlessly for days, the weight of her betrayal crushing me. I cried until there were no more tears, screamed until my throat was raw. I felt hollowed out, a shell of the man I once was. The loyal, trusting husband was gone, replaced by a raw, wounded animal. But in that desolate room, amidst the wreckage of my emotions, a flicker of something new ignited, a cold, hard resolve. I wouldn't just survive this, I would make them pay. From that day on, I became a ghost in my own home, a silent observer. I started gathering proof meticulously, patiently. I installed discreet cameras in our apartment, focusing on the living room and the entrance. I hired a private investigator, a grizzled ex-cop named Frank, based out of a nondescript office in a strip mall in Queens. New York? Frank's reports were damning. Hotel bookings under false names, credit card statements showing lavish dinners and expensive gifts, GPS data from her car revealing frequent visits to a luxury apartment complex in Miami, where Mark lived. I even managed to recover deleted texts and emails from an old tablet she'd forgotten about, filled with their sickeningly sweet exchanges. Each piece of evidence was a nail in their coffin, hammered in with surgical precision. My revenge wasn't going to be a fiery explosion. It was going to be a slow, deliberate strangulation. I consulted with a top divorce attorney in New York City, a woman known for her ruthless efficiency. We meticulously planned the legal traps. I transferred assets, secured bank accounts, and documented every single penny spent on her and her affair. I also started subtly planting seeds of doubt among our mutual friends. Casual remarks about Sarah's stress and unusual behavior, letting their imaginations fill in the blanks. I leaked anonymous tips to a local gossip blog in Chicago, hinting at a prominent businessman's affair with a married socialite. The social traps were set, the whispers beginning to spread like wildfire. The public exposure was orchestrated with chilling precision. It began with the divorce papers, served to Sarah at a high-profile charity gala in downtown Chicago, an event she had meticulously planned and was co-hosting. The flash of the camera, the gasp of the crowd, the look of utter shock and horror on her face, it was a masterpiece of public humiliation. Then came the blog post, not just a hint now, but a full expose complete with screenshots. Of texts, hotel receipts, and even a blurry photo, Frank had managed to snap of Sarah and Mark entering a hotel in New York. The story went viral. It's picked up by local news outlets, then national tabloids. Her carefully constructed image, her social standing, her entire world crumbled in a single devastating day. Mark, it turned out, was married to, and his wife, armed with my evidence, filed for divorce, taking him for everything he had. His smugness evaporated, replaced by a terrified, desperate plea for mercy. Sarah was completely ruined. Her career as a public relations executive was over, her clients abandoning her in droves. Friends vanished, unable to associate with the scandal. Her family, once so proud, disowned her. The divorce settlement left her with nothing but the clothes on her back and a mountain of legal fees. I saw her once, months later, walking down a street in a forgotten part of Los Angeles. Her once bright blonde hair dull, her expensive clothes replaced by cheap, ill-fitting garments. She looked haunted, a shadow of her former self, her arrogance replaced by a vacant despair. She didn't see me, and I didn't acknowledge her. The silence in my apartment now is profound, almost deafening. The echoes of laughter, of arguments, of whispered secrets have all faded. The winter coat, the one that started it all, is long gone, donated to a charity bin. I sit by the window, looking out at the quiet Chicago night, the city lights still glittering, but they no longer feel cold. There's no joy in this victory, no triumphant roar, just a quiet, chilling emptiness, a profound sense of finality. The cost of betrayal is paid in silence.